Without self-confidence, life drifts, like a small boat caught in the current of a wide river, pulled here and there without anchor, without direction, without purpose. No matter how gifted or intelligent we may be, if fear and shyness hold the reins of our hearts, our true potential remains hidden, locked away where no one can reach it. Many live this way, quietly, in silence, afraid to speak, afraid to stumble, afraid simply to be seen. So stay with me until the end of this story. Because sometimes, one tale, one gentle turning point, can awaken something within us. In a city filled with noise and movement, where markets rang with the clatter of carts and the calls of merchants, there lived a man named Samuel. He earned his living by selling sacks of salt, day after day, from sunrise until evening. His life was simple, but it was enough to provide for his wife and their 2 sons. His elder son, Daniel, was soft-spoken and painfully shy. Words caught in his throat whenever he tried to speak. People often mistook his quietness for foolishness. Some took advantage of his gentle nature, but Daniel never complained. His younger brother, Joseph, was different, confident, lively, and quick with words. He laughed easily, spoke boldly, and was admired by neighbors. Samuel, though proud of Joseph, often looked upon Daniel with disappointment. Harsh words came quickly. Scolding became frequent. Each angry sentence chipped away at Daniel's fragile spirit, until his confidence was nothing but dust in the wind. At school, fear followed Daniel like a shadow. In exams, his mind froze, his hands trembled, his thoughts scattered, and though he had studied, he could not write. He fell behind, not from lack of intelligence, but because fear had stolen his courage. As he grew into a young man, Samuel called him into the family business. Out of fear of further angering his father, Daniel agreed. But nervousness clung to him. When customers asked questions, his voice faltered. When numbers confused him, mistakes followed. Samuel's temper only grew hotter. Then, one day, everything changed. Samuel was away when 3 cunning men entered the shop. Their eyes were sharp, their smiles too wide. "Your father sent us," they said smoothly, "to collect all the salt sacks for the city." Daniel hesitated. His lips parted to question them, but fear sealed his voice. Before he realized what had happened, the men had carried everything away. That evening, when Samuel returned and found the shop empty, his fury erupted. His voice shook the walls. "You worthless boy! You've ruined everything I built. Get out of my sight. Never come back again." The words pierced Daniel's heart like knives. The neighbors mocked him, his father despised him, and his own helplessness weighed like chains on his soul. Crushed, broken, and ashamed, he wandered through the streets until his feet carried him to the riverbank. The night was still. The moon shimmered across the dark water. Tears blurred his vision as shame pressed tightly against his chest. "There is no point in living anymore," he whispered. "I will always be a failure." Slowly, he stepped forward, ready to surrender himself to the river. But then, just as the water's edge touched his feet, a hand seized his arm and pulled him back. Daniel gasped and turned. Before him stood an old man, his beard white as snow, his eyes filled with kindness. "Why did you stop me?" Daniel cried bitterly. "My life is meaningless. I cannot do anything right." The old man's voice was soft, steady. "My child, life is precious. God grants it to us only once. If you continue living, you can rise above failure. You can still discover who you truly are. But if you give up now, you will never know what strength was waiting inside you." Daniel's voice broke. "You don't understand. I am weak. I am shy. Even my father hates me. I have little education. Everyone calls me useless. Tell me, does someone like me even deserve to live?" The old man's expression grew serious. He placed his hand gently on Daniel's shoulder. "Come with me," he said. "I will give you an answer. But first, you must stay with me for 3 days. If you complete 3 tasks, your life will change." Hope flickered faintly in Daniel's broken heart. He nodded. The next morning, the old man gave him the first task. "Today, you will speak with 10 strangers. Ask them about their lives. Listen, write down their words." Daniel trembled, but he obeyed. In the marketplace, his voice shook as he approached the first stranger. Some ignored him. Some brushed him aside. Yet he tried again and again. By evening, Daniel had spoken with 10 people. He wrote their stories on scraps of paper, and to his surprise, some had smiled at him. Some even thanked him for listening. A few shook his hand warmly, as if he were a friend. When Daniel returned, his cheeks glowed with something he had not felt in years: pride. The old man nodded gently. "Well done. You see, even the smallest step begins to break the chain of fear." That night, Daniel lay awake under the old man's roof, staring at the stars through the window. For the first time in his life, his heart carried not only shame, but a fragile spark of hope. The second day dawned with a cool breeze, carrying the scent of damp earth and morning fires lit in distant homes. Daniel rose early, his heart both heavy with fear and trembling with anticipation. He wondered what the old man would ask of him next. The old man greeted him at the doorway, leaning gently on his cane. His eyes, though aged, shone with wisdom. "Today," he said calmly, "you will teach 10 children why water is important." Daniel's eyes widened. His mouth went dry. "Teach?" he whispered. "But I have not studied enough. I can barely speak to grown men. How can I stand before children?" The old man smiled kindly. "The children do not know your past. They will not ask you for books or certificates. Share with them what you already know. Even a few drops of truth can quench a thirsty heart." Later that morning, under the shade of a tall banyan tree, 10 children gathered, their bright eyes fixed on Daniel. In his trembling hands, he held a clay cup filled with clear water. Sunlight struck the surface, scattering tiny diamonds of light across his fingers. His voice cracked at first. "Water keeps us alive. Without it, plants cannot grow. Our bodies become weak. It cleanses us. It cools us when the sun burns too strongly. And it is a gift, something we must never waste." He paused, bracing for laughter. But the children did not laugh. They leaned closer, listening. One boy raised his hand. "So water is like a friend who always helps us?" Daniel blinked, then felt a smile tug at his lips. "Yes," he said softly, "exactly like a friend." The lesson ended, and to his astonishment, the children clapped their hands, their eyes full of joy. Daniel stepped back, his heart pounding not with fear this time, but with wonder. He had spoken, and others had listened. That evening, he told the old man everything, his words tumbling over themselves. "I thought I would fail, but they understood. They even thanked me." The old man's smile deepened. "Do you see? Fear shrinks the moment you step toward it. You faced it today, and already it has begun to loosen its grip." That night, Daniel lay awake again, gazing at the stars. But now, the darkness of the sky no longer pressed upon him. He felt a spark inside, glowing steadily. On the third day, the old man's eyes turned serious. "Now," he said, "you must return to your father. Apologize with humility." Daniel's breath caught. "No, I cannot. He told me never to return. His anger is fire. He will never forgive me." The old man placed both hands on Daniel's shoulders. His voice was firm but gentle. "Courage is not only in speaking to strangers or teaching children. True courage is in facing the ones we fear most. If you do not do this, I cannot give you my final advice." Daniel's knees weakened, his chest tightened. But he remembered the strangers who had spoken to him, the children who had clapped, the joy that had flickered within him. Slowly, he nodded. I will try. The road back to his father's house felt endless. Each step carried memories of scoldings and failures. At the doorway, he stopped. His heart raced like a drum. Closing his eyes, he whispered, God, give me strength. Then he stepped inside. Samuel was there, seated behind the counter, his face as stern as ever. The silence was heavy, pressing. Daniel bowed low, his voice breaking. Father, I am sorry. I failed you. I was weak. But I want to change. Please, give me another chance. I will prove myself. For a long moment, Samuel said nothing. His eyes searched his son's face. What he saw was different. There was no excuse, no trembling avoidance. There was humility, courage, a light of determination. At last, Samuel sighed. His voice was still firm, but softer than before. Stand up. If your words are true, then you will have one more chance. Do not waste it. Tears welled in Daniel's eyes. For the first time, his father's words did not crush him. They lifted him. That evening, Daniel returned to the old man, his steps lighter. I did it, he whispered, his voice steady. I faced him. He forgave me. Now, tell me, what is the secret to success? The old man's eyes glimmered. My son, you have already found it. Your greatest enemy was never shyness. It was fear. The world sees you as you choose to show yourself. If you stand with confidence, others will see strength. True power is born not from riches, nor education alone, but from self-belief. Daniel's tears spilled freely. He bowed low. I understand. I will not let fear win again. Years passed. The once timid boy grew into a respected businessman, his name carried with honor. Customers trusted him. Neighbors admired him. Children greeted him with smiles. He was known not just for his success, but for his kindness and patience. And whenever someone shy or broken came to him, Daniel would lean close and say gently, confidence is not given at birth. It is built step by step, through courage and persistence. Fear and doubt may hold us back, but the moment we face them, life begins to change. So remember this. The world sees you as you choose to present yourself. Believe in yourself. Take small steps forward, and you will discover a strength within you that has always been waiting to shine.